Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Two Doors podcast. We are here at a fireside chat at AWS with three great panelists. First up, we have Peter Soulsby. Peter is a respected leader in Australia's cybersecurity landscape. With a career that spans continents, Peter has led and transformed cyber businesses while staying hands-on in high-stakes incident response engagements. He knows what works when it matters most. Today, as head of security at Brennan, Peter combines deep technical knowledge with a gift for building high-performing teams, delivering impact cybersecurity solutions across the country. Please welcome Peter Soulsby. Myles Eftos. Myles is a veteran software engineer with 25 years of experience and currently serves as a staff engineer and evangelist at Amber Electric. He's full stack in the truest sense, starting with proper front-end HTML and CSS, now building systems that interface directly with solar and battery hardware. Myles is also a serial maker, home automation tinkerer, and CNC and 3D printing enthusiast. A brilliant mind who's as comfortable soldering wires as he is writing codes. Please welcome Myles Eftos. And lastly, we have Gregor. Gregor Pacnik is a seasoned technology leader whose career spans software engineering, product strategy, agile lead delivery, DevOps, and innovation at scale. He's fluent in over 27 programming languages, some of them more than English, and is known for his ability to turn customer insights into MVPs and bring new products to life across industries ranging from fintech and hedge funds to prop tech startups. A rare mix of technical depth and strategic vision. Please welcome Gregor Pacnik. So, starting with you, Gregor, I'd love to ask you, what do you consider...
by the way, that's his dig, because I said that's my strategic seat, yeah? Because I know this seat answers last, and Alex goes, oh, we'll turn it around, because never tell what you're thinking.
So, Gregor, what would you consider a senior or a mid? How would you define a senior or mid-level developer?
Good question. I need to think about it. Now, that's a question I told Alex to ask. He was picking our brains one to talk about. It's gonna vary dramatically from company to company. What's a seat? What's a senior? What's a mid? What's a staff? What's a principal? Is principal above staff or staff above principal? I don't think that one has been decided yet. Seniority is gonna also depend on the field in which you work. Yeah. If it's extremely high stakes, as government, fintech, highly regulated, a senior person will have a lot more responsibilities than if you're in a startup where there is two people. You can call yourself whatever you want in startup. Seriously, you're just gonna have, as long as you do the job. So without those caveats out, senior person for me is someone that takes ownership. You know, not just I do ABC and they go and do it. It's the person that goes, okay, you asked me to do ABC first. I'm going to figure out why you want that. And then where DEF is, how does that fit into the bigger picture? And not just do the work, but actually think about it and actually really own it from start to finish. Not just when they did it, but also, you know, months and years down the track, and actually brings other people on the journey. So I reckon the bigger thing for me, and, you know, background in both startups and corporate, that's the thing that I always looked in the people I wanted to work with, or I had to hire, was the ownerships, or I can't say this because it's being recorded, but afterwards I can tell you the other phrase. How much people care about things. Okay, I'm going to stop talking.
Did you guys want to add anything to that?
I mean, I can. But I think that's a pretty good sort of summary. For a mid, for us, we would expect you to be able to do an excellent job at what you were being asked to do. But if you're a mid wanting to make the jump to a senior, we would be expecting you to have thought outside the boxes of what we've been asking you to do, to come back to us to tell us why we're wrong with the thing that we've asked you to do, or maybe here's a better way you could possibly do it. And then as you sort of hit the upper levels of the senior band, being able to get other people to come with you on that journey. So that will quite often get asked. At where I work, there's a lot of seniors and not very many staff engineers. We were always getting asked, like, how do you make that jump? And that's about bringing other people with you.
I'll add one more. Just to add to that, and Gregor mentioned it, don't get stuck up on the title there, because depending on where you're working, titles mean different things. And I don't know about you guys, but I often see people chasing senior or principal or managing or whatever it is for all the wrong reasons. You got to make sure that you love what you do, that you come to work each day and put your right foot forward, and the titles and everything else, in theory, will then take care of themselves. So beware of title chasing. So
yeah, definitely. And talking to you, Peter, what's the best thing to get noticed? Like, what's the best for a graduate to do? What would you recommend?
Good question, Alex. It's tough out there at the moment. It always has been tough. I know people say it's tough today and it's tough tomorrow, and it's always tough to get noticed. Getting noticed is hard. The quality of people that are out there that are competing for jobs, entry-level positions, mid-level positions, senior positions, it's a tight market, and it is difficult to get noticed. Do your homework, make yourself stand out in some way, shape, or form. Know that studying degrees is just as important as studying technical certifications. Make yourself relevant. Relevance is key. I got a really interesting email today from a young chap looking for an internship who'd taken the time to study Brennan, to study what we do, our values, and write a cover letter that aligns to our business. Not just, hey, hire me, I'm great, I'll have a wonderful internship with you. They took the time to understand our business and our values and what we do. And therefore, all of a sudden, that person is relevant to me and my business. Remember, you're not selling yourself. You're actually trying to make yourself relevant to someone else. So you might think of a whole bunch of things that make you sound good, but think of your target audience that you're speaking to, or the target audience that you're applying to, and think of how to tailor your message to them to make yourself stand out in front of other people. Lots more that you can do, but just off the cuff. Chaps, anyone else?
What you're doing now is probably one of the most important things. When I started my career, I used to go to meetups. I'm from Perth. We had like one because it's not a very big place. It used to be all of the web tech mushed into one meetup called Port 80. And we used to go to the pub once a month. And there is still people that I hang out with today, and that was 20 years ago. And I've worked for, or they've worked for me. We've collaborated, we've talked shit, we've gone to camps together and written code at 3 a.m. that's ridiculous and stupid and fun. But ultimately, those friendships and sort of acquaintances we've met through social events and going out and talking to people has been the most important part of like my career journey. I'm hoping you're not asking me a question about how to do interviews later, because I don't think I've ever actually done one properly, at least, right? Like I've always been sort of, go talk to Myles, or I've heard someone going, we need someone who does this. Hey, I can do that. And you kind of get to shortcut that a little bit. And so being known to your peers and to those that are going to be hiring you, I think is the most important thing.
Which way? Interviewing, landing a job, or landing an interview, or once you're employed? Because they are two vastly different things.
Whatever way you want to take it, Gregor.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to tell you what to do not to get noticed or disqualified. I have no issues with using ChatGPT and LLMs and everything to write resumes. Read it afterwards, please. Just today I read a resume that didn't have English words in it. Nicely formatted, beautiful, tan on black background, fantastic, good fonts and everything. That's the easiest way to be taken out. But jokes aside, what the previous panel said, try to stand out in a particular way. And I had to do a lot of interviewing, unlike some, but I didn't go to many meetups, so there might be an answer to that. It's show me a passion in something. Don't care what it is, but a passion in something. That's on the interview side, because I'm running a bit low on ideas there. But in terms of once you had a job, focus on things and dig deep into one thing and get to be known by that. That as a leader, I went through all the ranks, all juniors and not juniors, and then seniors and then leadership and not leadership and IC and, the regular toggle left and right. But each and every time I had to work with people, I always looked for people that really cared about something that might be a specialist, but that made a huge difference for me to notice people that I wanted to work with and wanted to work for, which, inadvertently is who I want to work as in a team. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you heard that, didn't you, in the last panel, where it's like, what interests you? Keep exploring what interests you and then keep learning from that. So I love it. Attention to detail, network, and add value. I think your point there, Peter, was just always add value to people. I think this person that messaged you, they were just adding value to you rather than going, hey, I need an internship. I need this. So I need to. It's like, how can you add value to others?
Yeah, spot on. No. Yeah, you captured it, yeah.
And Myles, I'd love to ask you, so as mentioned in your podcast episode, you've never had to search for a job, and you've just mentioned it there. What is the secret like of building relationships?
I mean, I'm not an expert at this by any stretch of the imagination. I like computers. I don't like talking to people, but it's something you can learn. Like, one of the good things about going to meetups with other nerds is that they have the same social anxieties that you do. And so being able to go up and talk to someone else is actually not that hard because you're both just as awkward as each other. So in these sort of situations, literally go and... one of my favorite things to build on your point is what I call someone's nerd topic, right? And I'm pretty sure most of you don't want to stereotype, but I'm pretty sure you've all got one, right? Something that you're so passionate about that you will bore the leg off somebody talking about. Put that in a room with another person that has a thing that they're going to bore someone's leg off with, and you've got this beautiful synergy, right? So ask somebody what their hobbies are. Ask somebody, what movies they like. Those sort of like little icebreaker questions can be amazing ways to build relationships with people. And it's also a really good way to get the other person talking so you don't have to do it. But yeah, generally just trying to learn a lot of the soft skills that they spoke about in the previous talk. You can learn them. It doesn't get easier, but you can learn how to do them and how you can sort of interact with a room of people. And they're the sort of things that will get you noticed and will get people going, oh yeah, I remember that guy who said he liked that thing. And it also does help with the interview process as well, because especially if you're junior or graduate level, look, let's be honest, your coding's probably not that strong. We're not hiring you because you're an amazing architect. We're hiring you because we see some potential in what you're doing. And when you come out with your little passion project and tell us all of the things about it and the problems you had and how you solved those problems, that's actually the thing we're looking for, because that's what you do at work, right? And so if you can show us that via proxy from something else, it makes our lives a lot easier, so we're more likely to hire somebody.
So the power there is keep building. Don't just be, I've just done it at what I'm learning in my coding academy, or I've just done it at university. Keep building and feel free to collaborate with people. I always love it. Like when people come to me and they've built something outside of what they're doing, they're a lot more advanced than everyone else that's just clicked apply. And to the rest of the panel, have you got any techniques for networking or anything that you'd like to comment on the power of networking?
Okay. Yeah, so especially if you identify as someone that Myles spoke about as being more introverted and what have you, make yourself vulnerable. You have to make yourself vulnerable to get out there. It's awkward, doesn't feel good. That's where you're learning. Whenever you're vulnerable, whenever you're uncomfortable, that's when you're learning. And that goes for everything. That's not just networking or anything else. If you are the subject matter expert in a certain area and you get asked to do something different and you feel like you're not comfortable, and that's when you're learning. So get out there, make yourself uncomfortable, make yourself vulnerable. And I love what Myles said about, that passion project or whatever it is, because, in life, when it comes to these things, you need something that's going to drive you, something that you're passionate about, right? And that passion can relate to your work. It can not relate to your work. That's entirely up to you. But in life, when it comes to your career, you've got to be miles deep in something. So having a passion project that relates to your career and being miles deep in something and really good at it let the world know. Don't apologize about that either. So if you're not going to get a job because you're an absolutely amazing penetration tester, but they're looking for someone who's slightly different, that's cool. That's fine. You stick to what you're good at, and you make the world know that you are really, really good at something, and stick to that. When you've earned the right, and you're known as a subject matter expert in your field, and you've landed a couple of jobs, and you're now starting to progress your career, then you can start expanding into different things and what have you. But it does you absolutely no harm to pick something, get really, really good at it, don't apologize about it, and go out there and find something that aligns to what you're after and what makes you you. So again, put yourself out there, make yourself vulnerable, and again, Myles said it. Get to events like these. I've got one more thing to add. There's a guy that came with Brennan to CyberCon last year. He is working for a state government entity. I won't tell you who. It's the Victorian Police, and he is looking for a job as a penetration tester. And the fact that he reached out to me, he came to our offices, he had coffee with me, asked for advice. He went on his own accord to get a ticket to CyberCon as an introvert with a day job to go to another industry's event, put himself out there, go visit different vendors, visit different service providers. Man, that guy left that day feeling absolutely smashed and tired. He put himself out there, and I guarantee you the next person that I hire when I need a penetration tester, he's the guy. So it's those memories, it's those connections that you make that are going to make you successful when you're looking. Myles.
That's all right. You guys covered it quite well, but I'm going to tell you a little secret. Even this thing is bloody hard for me. Yeah, going out, socialize, network, talk to other people. I'm on that sort of introvert. Once I'm in the comfortable space, once the people I know, I'm gonna talk your ear off. I don't know you, I'm gonna close down immediately. And it's not something you get miles better. You just get a bit better. So you need to find hacks and little things, how to start a conversation. I tried it a couple of years ago. Don't talk about the stuff you care about. Ask people questions while you turn into an interrogation. So I met another introvert and I get a single syllable answers. I persevered for 15 questions. Sometimes you're not going to win that one. But it's hard. It's hard because that's the thing that drove me to computers. That's the thing, computer science was me in my happy place in front of the screen doing things, just in the world, in the space that doesn't exist on the internet or in the physical, in my mind, solving problems, turning things upside down. Yeah, that's what drove me. And, apparently that defines me as an introvert or something like that. And it makes these things hard. Even just sitting today, right now, even though I do talking for job now, it's hard. It's not easy. Yeah? So putting yourself out there, regardless of where you are in your career, is always going to be hard. So it's going to be conscious effort.
And I think it was Peter that mentioned that discomfort, that's where you progress, right? That's where you really grow. And, and even when you're vulnerable with other people, that builds that human connection. And right now we're in the AI revolution that we're all having to learn new skills and how we evolve, how AI is a companion. You don't just rely on it, but a companion can be like a pet, or it could be, a lot more intimate. So you choose, but it's how you keep evolving and growing. And I'd love to ask the panel is, we're obviously talking leadership on this panel as well, of like how advancing your career and everything, but how do you identify someone who's ready to be trusted with more responsibility? Because responsibility is leadership, isn't it? It's accountability and really stepping. But how do you identify that in somebody?
That's a simple one. Just thinking back on a couple of scenarios. Each and every time, not that I had to always an opportunity to promote many people, but a handful that I manage, like a substantial promotion, like Myles said before, is when working with a particular person within a squad, within a team, whatever, it didn't even have to report to me. All of a sudden, my work in that space was gone or diminished to such a degree that I just kept on relying more and more and more on that person to kind of doing it. So effectively, not that I slacked off because I had a billion other responsibilities as you usually do, but that's a point where I go, okay, so it's a person that had solid engineering background, so think about mid-senior kind of space. But each and every time stood up and really took something in their own hands and ran it. Figure out the time, figure out the people, made a space to make improvements or do the thing. So come with me, not with 17 problems, but with 4 potential solutions. Sometimes I learned from people how to do those things because I did not know how to do that early in my career. I was very clunky in my early career, but then learning from people elsewhere and how they went about it, that made a difference. Yeah, so that was the easiest one. There is other times and places where people are ready for promotion, but the last time that they're ready for promotion is when they're asking for one. Like you said, don't chase titles. Don't go, oh, I was mid for 6 months. Now I'm ready for a senior. No, you're not ready. You're going to be ready when you're going to be doing work of a senior. So effectively, you need to do the job before you kind of get it. But I reckon, okay, this is going to open a can of worms. Depending where you work, your title might define your pay, which I call absolute bullshit at, yeah? Because then people are chasing the titles for the sake of pay. And more often than not, that's correlated, and more often the capabilities and skills are there. But I much rather see that those two things are disconnected, and people, let's not go into pay because that's as I said, a can of worms. But don't mix up the thing that X% pay increase. I want a senior, and because I want that pay increase, I'm gonna do anything and everything just to get it. Act it, and it will come. Your career is not next 6 months. Your career is next 30, 40 years. Yeah, you can't fake into it, and you can't push yourself into it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, your point about the person chasing the title not being ready for leadership is like bang on. The ones that are the most obvious that I've seen progress are the ones that have kind of taken their own initiative to do things around the place to help others, that are humble, that are self-reflective, people that make mistakes, admit to mistakes, fix mistakes, learn from mistakes, people that help other people. So if you're with a cohort of other junior engineers or a cohort of other mid-level engineers, you're not fighting them for the next senior role. Like, you've got to be there helping each other out. It does mean that the ones that are the most helpful kind of become more recognizable and will end up being promoted. But at the end of the day, it's not all about climbing the ladder as fast as you can, because you can't speed this stuff up. There's a bunch of things you need to learn along the way to really recognize it. And in some places, when you like flick from one place to another and maybe go sideways or go up and then go back down again, or traverse that snakes and ladders board, like there's all valuable things you learn along that way, and that experience is what makes you a senior or makes you a leader. You can 100% fall into that role because you've been around for so long and know so much stuff, but not just technical stuff. You've learned things about how people work, because at the end of the day, you're going to hear this a lot from us, but like the computer is one part of what we do. The meat bag behind it is probably a fair whack of the other part of it. So take those conversations and learn from them, and really, you don't have to be a people manager to be a leader. You can be a purely technical one, but you're still going to deal with people. So, understand how to interact and learn from those interactions.
I'll add to that, and probably just to complement what you chaps have said so far. So, a couple of things. One is you got to earn your. Is that coming through? All good. You got to earn your stripes in the position that you have today, or the position that you're going to get tomorrow, right? So before you have the permission to ask for anything else, you've got to do what you're hired for, and you've got to do that well. There's no such thing, or there's nothing worse as a manager or as a leader than someone coming in and being in the seat for 6 months and going, hey, I did a project really well, can I have a promotion and increase? Like, no, you can't, bugger off. See you in a year. There's no time frame, by the way. There's no, you've got to be 3 years or 5 years, but you have to earn your stripes with evidence of having done something significant or performed in your role before you earn the right to go and ask for something different. Someone, I think, Gregor, which is you, that said the moment you ask is, that's the moment that you're not ready. be aware that people that manage you, your leaders, will be looking at you and watching you on a regular basis and assessing you in their own mind as to when you're ready. So the one thing I always talk about, though, is by doing your job well and by doing what you got hired to do really, really well, gives you access to the business. It gives you access to make sure that you keep your job, you get your salary, and you go home at the end of the day without getting fired. What you do outside of that is what's going to add value and put you in line for the next position, or something more meaningful, whatever that might be, a parallel move, an upward move, or whatever it is. I think, Myles, you mentioned it as well. When it comes to titles and positions, don't think that, like, I'm a head of security. I currently manage about 70 people, going on 80 by the end of next month. That sounds like something that's really interesting, and hey, I want to be the head of security too. Well, let me tell you, no, you don't. It's a bloody hard job, and managing a business the size of the business that I manage keeps me up at night. Makes me think very hard about what I do, and it's always on, and that's for a specific type of person. I've got people in my business that work for me that are far more valuable, according to me, than me. All I do is run the business. Those people are the guys that actually run, who make sure that the business is a success. They also need to know what's right for them and what's wrong for them. So just by chasing my position, if someone comes to me and says, hey, I want to be you, like, no, you don't. Understand that my role is completely and utterly different to yours. And chances are, if the 79 people in my business wanted to do my job, they'd all be extremely unhappy. So know what makes you happy, what makes you tick, and be comfortable with being good at what you do in your skin, whatever that might be. You don't have to be a managing director, a CEO, or a CTO, excuse me. But you don't have to be that.
It's a startup, mate. I can make up my own title.
Yeah, well, so the point is, you don't have to have some flashy title to be happy in life, good at what you're doing, go home at the end of the day satisfied. Different roles are for different people. You get technical roles that technical people love. You get managerial roles that people who don't know what they're doing love. That's me. And there's all sorts of roles in between that you can go for, be happy with, and be good at. But you have to earn the right by doing what you do well, and then start doing things that aren't asked of you by taking on extra responsibility and things. That's when you start earning the right to have the next conversation about your career. Don't forget to do what you do today.
That's brilliant. So common experiences, having those experiences and learning from them, and what we were speaking about earlier about failing, learning from your failures. But these guys set up here are the biggest failures. They've just failed more often and had those experiences. I hope all of your self-esteem is good that I can talk on that. But also the point I want to make there is going the extra mile. I've always had that in my career of, chasing the next chapter, going the extra mile. I think that's what really helps you in your career keep progressing.
I just thought of something that literally just happened today, and I should have mentioned it. A practical advice of how to really, really do my job for me, so I'm definitely going to notice you, is run your one-on-one. Everyone should have one-on-ones, yeah? Weekly, fortnightly, monthly, whatever. If you don't have one-on-ones, seriously think about the place you're working or ask for one-on-ones. A step to get noticed. Second step is, as a leader, it's your responsibility to look after the people that might not even report to you. Yeah, so a manager and a leader are two different things. And I have led people that didn't report to me, still ran their one-on-ones. And you got your usual questions. Any problems? Anything you want to raise? What's your professional development? What's your steps? If you got, I don't know, the performance, whatever rating for bonuses and stuff. The usual crud. Those steps are the same. Come prepared. Have an idea, have a pointed question, have something in depth, or have something to show me. That's your personal time with a leader, and you can really stand out in those. There is nothing worse in one-on-one that a person rocks up and goes, we got to chat for half an hour. Beautiful. We can grab a beer. And it's about your career and your life, but step up. And that is one thing. You don't have to be on a special project. You don't have to do special things. You're literally just looking after yourself, but in the most positive way. So yeah, one-on-ones, how you structure them, how you run them, you weigh yourself up. It's a huge, huge step forward.
And in a world obsessed with frameworks and tools these days, how do you teach engineers to think?
Can you expand on that?
Well, I think, funny enough, but like the way that people are developing their careers, I think they're having to look at it in a different way. So like, obviously we're obsessed with like different frameworks and different tools, but what do you advise to more juniors of like, hey, like there's been some common shared experiences here of going the extra mile or, be curious and all of those, but what would you advise?
I don't even think I have a career plan, to be honest. I never planned my career, never looked into the frameworks. As the guy said, a bit of IC, a bit of leadership, a bit of this, a bit of that. Definitely not a straight line to whatever I would imagine I'm going to be. But there is one advice from my experience that I would give you is find your passion and do it. Figure out if you can do it at work. Brilliant. So you have a hobby that you get paid for. But there is a double-edged sword there. And when you're pissed off with work, then all of a sudden you're pissed off at your hobby. I had that happen. So finding work and a hobby is a good thing. I have, throughout my career, even before I had a career, even before I knew what I wanted to do, because there was a chemical engineering as an option instead of computer science, I always like to think of it computers, not just computers, hardware and software, but just everything in general, pre-internet days. But that's the thing that was consistent throughout my career. I always nibbled at something, worked on a side project, never got paid for anything, occasionally here or there. But always tried to peel a next layer off. So it was my curiosity defines my career. And more often than not, I never had the opportunity to have too many offers, but there were times when I had a chance of deciding between A, B, or C. I always picked something that kind of lined up with my interests and my curiosity and where I could add more. So as my career, it's my curiosity and passion about things.
There's a real nuance to the whole do a hobby work thing. I see that advice coming out a lot of like, you do side projects and all of that sort of stuff. And then 5-10 years later, we're like, work-life balance, stop doing stuff at home. The actual nuance we've got to think about here is you do actually need to like the thing that you're doing. Like, can you become a software engineer and not like computers? Absolutely, right? Will it be much fun? Probably not, but I'm not sure. Do accountants use Excel spreadsheets for fun? I'm not like, there's a bunch, but there is a bunch of jobs there that like, they probably don't go home and fire up whatever they have and do it for fun. We are an exception, Peter. This is the point I'm making. But, when we are very lucky that, our passion is applicable to so many different things. You can take up gardening and lo and behold, you will have a piece of software that is analyzing how much water you're using. Like, it is really easy to apply our skill set to things. So the point is don't just do it because 3 Muppets on stage told you to do it. Do it because you're interested in it, right? Find that thing that makes you go, I really love knitting. How can I apply that and learn than React or whatever, right? And you'll find it much easier to do that stuff in your spare time. And it does fix that problem of, I hate my job, now I hate my hobby. Like, I'm a serial hobby person. I've got a garage full of dead hobbies, right? And every single one of them, I've written a microcontroller program to do something stupid, right? But that's okay, and it's fun, and it's gotten me a job, and I enjoy it. And when I don't like that hobby anymore, I move on to the next one and work out how I'm going to program it. So, when we say find the passion, we're serious about that. Like, it's find the passion in the thing and then apply it over to the other passion.
I'm going to add to that and just touch on your curiosity piece. So my skill is not technical. I'm not, I run a security business and I can tell you how a firewall works. It's being recorded.
Yes.
It's the second time I've been on a show with you and told a really bad story. So my passion is not, I took a while to find my passion, to be honest, and took a while to realize what my passion was and how to apply it at work. I trained as an accountant and I love Excel. So I trained as an accountant. I was on my way to becoming a chartered accountant, but then realized that accounting is actually quite boring. But the whole reason I studied accounting was because I'd never wanted to be around a boardroom table and have someone pull the wool over my eyes. So it was a very specific reason why I did accounting. But then I ended up as a financial manager. And the last thing in life I wanted to be was a financial manager, because every single month on every month, every day is the same. You're either doing a reconciliation, you're counting up petty cash, or you're running month end, or it's to all the accountants on this call, sorry, but it's a really, really boring career. For me personally, I don't like repetition. That's not who I am. So I was sitting in a financial management position, and all of a sudden I realized I'm probably the unhappiest guy in the business and not doing a very good job either. But to your point, you can actually, you don't like software, you don't like computers, you can be a software engineer. I hated accounting. I was a financial manager of a business. So it is possible to do things that you don't reconcile yourself to. At that point, I had an interesting conversation with my boss at the time, and I said, I don't want to do this. You probably don't want me to do this. But I'm really good at captaining sports teams, and I always seem to be the chairman of the sports club. So why don't I run the business? And at that time, long story short, someone else resigned and as part of the business, and he said, well, I'd actually quite like you out of your position because you are pretty crap at it. So, go run that part of the business and good luck. It was a really small part, and I think it was just a convenient way for him to not fire me and get me out the way. And that's how I started running businesses. That was an applications business in charge of SAP developers and Oracle developers and Microsoft developers, and I didn't know what they do then. I still don't know what they do now. Did that for 3 years and then started running a security business because someone needed someone to run the security business because I wasn't doing well. And this is years ago, back in South Africa. And now I find myself here in Australia running a security business, and I've been doing that for the last sort of 8 years. But security is not my passion. IT is not my passion. Finance isn't my passion. My passion is actually going out in a soccer field or a hockey field or a cricket field and captaining a team and leading a team. I've taken that passion and applied it to my business life, but it took me a long time to realize that I needed to, to your point, to reconcile the two. And the value that I bring to the business now is leadership and Microsoft Excel. So no one's better at Excel than me, and I'm pretty good at captaining a team, and therefore take the two, put them together, and I can run businesses pretty well. So finding that passion is what I've done. It took me a bit of a roundabout way to get there, and I was actually really unhappy by the time I figured out what I wanted to do in life and what I didn't want to do in life. But I can tell you I'm happy as Larry now, doing what I do and loving it every single day.
I'm just glad I now have a person I can go to with any Microsoft Excel problems and be like, Peter, what is this?
There is an Olympiad in Excel.
There is.
There's an Olympiad.
In Excel.
Sydney guy won it last year.
Oh my gosh.
But it takes a nerd to know that exists.
Yes. Well, as I'd love to ask you guys, obviously the field is evolving and it's always changing, and it always has changed. It always has evolved. Otherwise, we'd still be doing very old school technology. But how do you stay relevant in a field that's changing?
I'll take that one first. So obviously AI is pretty hot at the moment, and I'm of an age where I don't like new things. And so I'm on the fence of this is nonsense, this is not going to replace programmers, there's a whole bunch of stuff, da-da-da-da. But the other day I decided to sit down, and I do a lot of home automation, and I have a bunch of Amazon dots around my house, and they decided to remove a bunch of the privacy settings on them, which annoyed me a lot. And Home Assistant, which is the thing I use at home, has now been working on voice. And so I've been wanting to migrate over to that. Just so happens LLMs and AI is a thing they're experimenting with. So again, found that what's that keystone thing that makes me go, I'm interested in this now, right? Personally, I have to do things to understand them and to really rock how they work. So on a level above that, work out how you learn things, right? People learn things differently. The way we were taught to learn at school sorts out 10% of people, right? And it takes a long time to realize how you learn, right? There's visual learners, there's rote learners, and all of those sort of things. When you can identify how you learn things, then it's much easier to go and pick something up. Doctors, for example, are pretty good at just learning a bunch of stuff by rote, and I'm sure they can learn things that they don't really care about because they can just remember it. Whereas I need to be interested in it, and I need to find the angle that makes me go, all right, I need to learn this to deep dive to understand it, and then I'm good enough to be dangerous. And I do quite like to live in the bottom part of the Dunning-Kruger curve of like, I think I know more than I know. And so I'm willing just to go out and do it. Don't always do that though, because you can get yourself into a bit of trouble. But like at home, it doesn't matter, right? If like, you know, you've got to take that leap and just get past the I don't know what I don't know bit and get into the I know I don't know anything bit to the I don't know what I don't know part, because the rest of it you can kind of dig yourself out of later. But yeah, for me, it's doing it, finding something relevant and, you know, building something that I might throw away after I'm bored of it. But at least I've had a real world example of how it works.
I like that. I've done a lot of that. Break things. Hopefully not mechanical and that can kill you, but break things. Go out and break things. Coming now, we were just talking during the pizza break or beforehand. You know, there is always a pendulum. It goes from one extreme to another. You know, insourcing, outsourcing, object-oriented, functional, React, whatever view, thin client, fix clients. And I think now I'm seeing the second or third roundabout of those pendulums. And I can tell you one thing: it's not that hard to stay relevant if you learn the principles. So go back to what we started with. Pick something, dig deep into it. And from there, that gives you a bit of a foundation of understanding that you can hang other knowledge and understanding on. Let's say in terms of programming languages, I keep on joking, I'm now 27, I probably forgot a couple of them by now. Definitely Lisp is one of them. But let's say in programming languages, you got 4 basic types of programming languages. Yeah, you got your basic procedural, object-oriented, you got functional programming, and you got set-based. You learn one of those semi-okay. You can apply principles from the others across, yeah? And then once you're comfortable in that one, you can maybe find another dimension in that one and learn the other one. And again, the principle's going to translate, yeah? This day and age, either big functional or object-oriented, you're probably a lot better at object-oriented space because you can do functional stuff and you can do set stuff with it. So, you know, the biggest bang for buck. But once you, let's say, you spend time, you dig deep, either as a hobby, either as an opportunity at work or whatever, you learn all those 4 basic paradigms of programming. You might not be an expert in all of them. They can't throw much more at you unless they throw assembler, which is a type of procedural. The closest thing that kind of upset the status quo recently is, you know, Gen AI and LLMs and all that stuff. But even that, it's just describing things, you know. In a sense, it's programming language, but it doesn't fundamentally change. It's just a tool. It's just like an Excel spreadsheet, except it doesn't talk back to you. And, you know, Excel at least gives you the same result every time you put the numbers in. The other one is a bit of a more hit and miss, yeah. So it, you know, I like the song by Dylan Beatty. Have you heard of him? We're gonna build another framework because we didn't like the other. Because we need another one. Definitely YouTube that one. Whatever your streaming platform choice is. There is so many frameworks, languages, flavors, ideas out there. Don't get lost in that noise. Pick something, build from there, and all those frameworks just disappear and you're going to see, oh yeah, it's that principle, it's that pattern, it's that how it codes. So you can apply the knowledge from previous things and quickly adopt things. Yeah.
I'm not sure what you just said, but it sounded like really good advice. But probably, the only thing I'd probably add to that is back to that core. So, you know, you realize what you're passionate at, what you're good at, and reconcile yourself back to that, and you can actually find yourself really adaptable. So long as you stick to what you know, well, not stick to what you know, you've got to put yourself out there and learn, but as long as you stick to what you as a person are really, really good at, you can adapt that in so many different ways. And it might not be Visual Basic, excuse me for saying, but that's when I learned to code, which was Visual Basic. It could be your logic, the way that you think about things is your skill, and the way that you apply that is just the technology. But reconciling what you're good at, you can apply that to many, many different things, including what you think is not very obvious, like moving from being a captain of a cricket team to running a business. The skill set's actually the same, it's just a different field. So, yeah.
Just because you mentioned Visual Basic. Many months ago, so over 20 years ago, I was dabbling into these databases and network connected databases. Microsoft Access was all the rage in in Windows space. And there was a big pattern in that programming language. Never earned a single dollar on what I was doing there. Just as a disclaimer, it was my passion thing. Visual Basic had try-catch statements. That was a new thing back then. But it gave you a get-out-of-jail-free card, which it looked like super cool at the start. It goes, try to do this, and then if error happens, just ignore it. So on error, resume next. That was the code that it said. Fair enough. Coded it. Knew I never wanted to code in Visual Basic code base, because if people can do that, it's going to be dangerous. And then fast forward until 6 months ago, when a friend of a friend running a diesel injector servicing business, and one of his very expensive diesel injector adjustment machines carked it. So he was running it on a laptop from about mid-2000s. No one could get that laptop up and running. And the experience of learning that it was written in Visual Basic language and it was ignoring an error and digging into what that error could be, I managed to get us up and running in 7 hours. It wasn't a magical thing, but that was after months of people throwing anything in that bloody laptop. So yes, you never know when the odd little thing you learned 20 odd years ago might come useful. So just keep on breaking things.
Brilliant. Well, that's a great place to stop. So thank you very much, gents, for coming on. It's been fantastic. So yeah, round of applause per guest.
Thanks for having us.